Good morning, everybody. This week on Leadership Adventure on the Tuesday blog, we wrapped up the 3-week series on the language of progress. And in this week's installment, I talked about the idea of continuous improvement and essentially gave you some basic information about what that's all about. Now, underlying continuous improvement is the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. It's Kaizen, if you're looking for the spelling of that. And years ago, after World War II, a gentleman by the name of William Deming went to Japan, and he was an early pioneer in total quality control processes. And when he got there, he is oftentimes almost single-handedly credited for getting their industrial machine back up and running again after World War II. And the marriage of his ideas with this philosophy of Kaizen, or continuous improvement, really made a huge difference and made Japan the economic powerhouse that it is today after the war. Now, the word Kaizen itself is just changed for the better. And so today I wanted to give you a few extra principles or a couple of other ideas that surround that I didn't really have time to go into in the blog. So let's dive into that, and we'll focus on a couple things behind me here on the board. Okay, so one of the key principles about Kaizen is pushing work down. And what I mean by that is employee empowerment. We talk about that all the time. But I have added a second part to that. So first, the work should be pushed down. And when I mean push down, I mean allow people at the lowest levels of your organization that are capable of making a decision, allow them to make those decisions, because they're the ones with the hands-on, they're the ones with the expertise. Now, at the same time you're pushing work down, you should be pushing ideas up. Because again, those people that are doing the job, that have their hands on something every single day, are oftentimes your best source of ideas for improving processes and continuing along that line or along that idea of continuous improvement. Okay, the second idea I wanted to convey is this idea of waste reduction. So when you're continuously improving, you also need to be looking for ways to eliminate waste. And waste could be activity, material, time, anything that doesn't add value to the process or the product that you're trying to refine and improve. In the old days, back in the 80s, I was part of a team. We called it back then value analysis or value engineering. And we actually, through about a 2-year project, engineered about 30% of the bottom line product cost out by engaging in this exercise and just repeating and repeating and repeating and refining and refining and refining. So again, small steps taken consistently over a long period of time can really add up to huge bottom line results for you and your organization. Okay, the third idea is the idea of standardization. Some of the companies that you work in, policies and procedures, testing, et cetera, it's all well documented. Other companies don't do it so much, but anything you can do to standardize and repeat, it makes your training easier and it will increase your quality of your output over time. Okay, now the fourth idea that I wanted to talk about is what we call gemba, and it's this word right here. And in Japanese, and I don't speak Japanese, but in Japanese, this stands for the actual place, or the place where the work happens. And you remember, I think a couple blogs ago, we talked about Peter Drucker and his principle of management by walking around. And this is the same idea, but it's, you make your changes and you understand the refinements and the changes you need to make when you go to the actual place. It's another version of management by walking around. Talk to the people that are involved in the process, go there and observe what they do, where they do it. And I think you'll find that over time that also helps to improve things quite a bit. Okay, 2 final thoughts about Kaizen, and then I will wrap up the video for this week. Teamwork and collaboration in today's world, especially post-pandemic, we talk about collaboration all the time. But when it comes to continuous improvement, I think one of the best ways we can apply teamwork and we can collaborate together is by collaborating across functional areas. So magical and amazing things happen when your engineers talk to your customers, like we talked about in our video last week, or when your accounting people understand what manufacturing actually has to go through to create a product, or when sales and marketing actually engage with the designers on a process to understand what they go through. You build a well-rounded team when you engage in teamwork at that level. So that's a thought I wanted to leave with you. And finally for today, there's a common acronym called PDCA. I wrote it up here behind me, which stands for Plan, Do, Check, and Act. So let me just take a second to jot that out. But plan, so when you're making a change, plan what you want the change to be, then make the change. And then after you make that change, and again, remember, we're talking about continuous improvement or small steps here. Once you make the change, check to see that the effects of that change were what you really intended them or wanted them to be. And then you can take the next step, making that part of a production process or whatever it happens to be, and then you can repeat the whole process all over again. So as you delve deeper into this subject of continuous improvement, you'll see this acronym quite a bit, PDCA. So Kaizen, let's wrap it up for this week. Great concept. You can apply this again to any industry, any service, any product, anything that you do can benefit from this general philosophy. So have a great week, and I'll see you next Thursday. Next week, we'll switch it up a little bit. We're going to be talking about life purpose. So I'll see you then.